Trustee McKay. Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Linton. Trustee Zodi.
Aye.
Trustee Rosie. And Trustee Bowers.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, moving along to item B2, again with the Public Works Committee, considering Wilson Drive design elements, including roadway surface material and median landscape treatments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have in our packet a fair amount of information on Wilson Drive. I'm sorry to try to get something. We had committee work through at some length the items in the memo, and to take them in order that we have on the agenda. There was some discussion and not complete agreement on roadway surface material. On one hand, the cost information from Grave shows us that a asphalt roadway, remembering even with an asphalt roadway, the paths at the bus stops will be concrete. But an asphalt roadway driving surface in bike lanes and parking lanes is $525,853 less in construction costs up front. However, the comments were made both by our consultants and the trustees in committee that concrete is more durable, does last longer, and over the life cycle of the roadway, the costs, that cost differential narrows considerably. There was discussion as well that when we consider concrete versus asphalt, there's a number of things to take into consideration. Initial costs, operating and maintenance costs, life cycle costs, but also when we put it in the context of Shorewood, Wisconsin, and both the weather that we have here in our infrastructure, and by that I mean if we have sewer issues, remembering that at this point there is no need to contemplate sewer replacement or water main replacement under Wilson Drive or along Wilson Drive, but certainly over the life cycle of the roadway, there will probably be instances where there will be where there will be a need to get under the roadway for sewer repairs, for water main repairs. Trustee Maher reminded us that in Wilson Drive corridor, most of the sewer and water infrastructure is under the parkway. We've got that wide, that broad parkway on the broader than most, wider than most on the east side of Wilson Drive, and that's where most of the utilities are, but not all. And so we need to consider that implication as well. There was no recommendation from our consultant on concrete versus asphalt. The comment was made through staff that a typical arterial road, this sort of replacement project, that they would say, yeah, you should go with concrete. But the load on this road, by that they were told that they meant truck traffic, heavy vehicular traffic, does not make that decision such a slam dunk. So in other words, that from Grace's perspective, either would be sufficient. They did, they do know of the traffic in terms of, and they have been told by trustees, reminded of the additional traffic, Whitefish Bay solid waste trucks coming down there daily to go to our shared compactor. And they do know of the relocation of the police, so that's not truck traffic. But their comments were that it's just not the volume there that makes it, from an engineering perspective, a clear recommendation for concrete. Nor did, as I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, committee or Leanne, did staff have a clear cut, and we don't see a recommendation for concrete or asphalt. Because there are those things either way. And I shared with the committee my own opinion is just listening to all that and not getting a clear recommendation from our roadway design experts, our traffic, our civil engineering experts, and not having an absolute recommendation for concrete from our own staff and management, that the $525,853 less initially, and in combination with the interest costs there from for that additional bonding. I wasn't at that point ready to support the additional cost of the concrete. And so the recommendation from committee is to, the non-unanimous recommendation from committee was to proceed with an asphalt pavement. And so we've got this. Yeah, so I did a procedural thing. We've got this: consider elements including roadway surface and median design. If there's no objection, I think perhaps we should make two separate motions to make the discussion easier. And so with that, I would move to authorize staff to work with Brave to continue on with engineering and design for a asphalt surface on the Wilson Drive reconstruction.
Second.
Discussion? Trustee Rosa?
Thank you. Some of the points that were brought up at committee, I'll only say them once. The concerns that I personally brought up were that the route is signed for truck as a truck route. I don't necessarily know why. I don't know if DOT keeps numbers of that truck traffic, or if we're just assuming based on what we see. I'm not sure how we made the determination of how many trucks go back and forth. But we do have signs that say it's a truck route. As for cost, at the last committee meeting, our engineering expert, Mary Beth, the project lead, had stated the cost differential was $26,000. At the open house, she came to talk to me to clarify that she wasn't wrong, that the manuals, the DOT manuals, say the cost differential, which over the lifespan of a roadway between concrete and asphalt, is $26,000. And what that takes into consideration, she wasn't here today, so we couldn't give you the exact, the exact facts, but in general, it's the maintenance cost, because asphalt, the standard for asphalt all around the nation is that, it's proven that you need a lot more maintenance. So my big concern with asphalt for the maintenance standpoint is it's an opportunity cost. We're going to be inconveniencing the residents a lot more, because we're going to be doing, intermittent maintenance compared to a concrete road. So that was one consideration I had. I also know that, with more maintenance occurrences over the lifespan of a road, that's an opportunity cost for what our staff is devoting their time on. So I don't want to lose sight of those two factors. The third factor was the heat island effect, that asphalt is black. We didn't put in a median with trees in the middle, boulevard to provide some extra shading, so, you know, there are documents out there that talk about the heat island effect. I think the Conservation Committee actually wrote us one, and it's in our Wilson Drive file, if anyone wants to refer to it, but basically, you know, there's most people in agreement that we're heading into global warming and looking to the future, and so that was one consideration that I had as well, that doesn't necessarily tie to money. And then the other thing that I stated in the committee was, it's not like the question is not, is it cheap, $550,000 cheaper? The question is, how much interest cost can we save? Because the cost is, you know, been proven over the lifespan of a road to the differential is $26,000 according to national standards, state standards. So it's just when we'll have to utilize those funds. And so really your opportunity cost here is your interest, because you're borrowing ahead of time and you're paying interest on money. One of the things for funding that was important, at least in my opinion, was if we, and Leanne's going to get us more information on this, but because I probably might have it incorrect, but if you bond for it now, we just pay the debt service, whereas if you utilize that $550 over time with an asphalt road maintenance, we might be utilizing our operating budget, and I know we have more constraints from the state on utilizing operating budgets that could be utilized for other programs that we might want to consider in the future, or that we might need, like for mini break somewhere else. So anyways, it was just a consideration of the operating. And then the final thing is, I really am not convinced that this roadway is any different than any other arterial in our community. And elsewhere, it's a minor arterial, it's not a collector. And as such, I believe that, you know, the standard is that you'd use concrete. There's nothing, as Trustee Zovic has said, there's not a clear recommendation. At the last meeting, when our engineer was here, before cost was an issue of the upfront borrowing, just when we just knew that $26,000 number, we asked her for a recommendation and she said concrete. But then now that there's another consideration, but again, it's not an engineering consideration, it's more of a policymaker decision on the park. So I do believe that concrete's the right material. I think it will last longer. I think it will inconvenience our residents with maintenance. It'll allow staff to allocate their time to other programs that we have, and it will potentially save some of our operating funding over the years to be dedicated somewhere differently. Thank you.
Anyone else, any other opinions?
I listened to all the staff and our interim village manager has many years of also experience in maintaining. I was concerned, clearly the engineers indicated that there's not a lot of truck traffic. They are not seeing a lot of truck traffic on this road, and it could be the asphalt pavement. And to pay the differential with the added interest over time, which is about 30–35%, the additional cost to install the asphalt and then pay the interest is close to $900,000. And we're looking at a project that's now pushing $4.7 million if you have the concrete. And I think this is one way we can try to keep this project contained, and also that these resources can be used. We got other roads, we got alleys, we got lots of other infrastructure that needs to work, and maybe a higher priority than, well, maybe concrete's needed. And another concern of mine is this: I travel a lot on the east side, Edgewood, Downer, Maryland. Those concrete roads are some of the worst for Oakland. I mean, they do hold up, but if you're biking on them or you're riding on them, they're just, and Milwaukee is now going in and paving over blacktop and over the surfaces, and now they're wonderful for bike riding and for driving on. So I don't see the clear need to spend the additional $900,000 for the concrete on this road. Heavy traffic.
Any other trustees? Yes, trustee Knight.
A question about the information on truck traffic on the road. Was that provided by the consultant? Because I don't remember in the traffic study them mentioning truck traffic, and as I recall, they observed traffic on a single day for a period of some hours, not the entire day. So I'm not clear where Grafe would have, if it came from Grafe. What?
That's,
My observation is my observation and anecdotal and, you know, working in the village for nearly 20, a little over 20 years, is that I typically do not see large trucks on the street. They're moving vehicles and they're servicing the apartments or those residents. It is one of the designated routes that we require white fishermen to use. On a typical day, that may be six trucks back and forth.
So, okay, it wasn't something that Grafe studied or reported on. It's an anecdotal, we don't think there's that much truck traffic on there.
My comment is my comment and anecdotal.
But
They've made a similar comment. I have not seen a data stack. I assume it's their extrapolation of the one day.
Because living near there, and for